Hi, my name is Natalie, and I've been teaching tantric meditations and healing for the past 10 years, and I recently opened this YouTube channel. So welcome to all my new subscribers and to all the wonderful people that have been watching my videos and commenting, and thank you very much. And I love hearing from you, so thanks for the comments. And yeah, I've been really happy with the YouTube channel and having a lot of fun with these videos, so thank you for taking a part. And today I wanted to talk about something that happens to a lot of men who go into this like journey of discovery with Tantra and their sexuality, and they even go to these healing sessions, maybe even healing sessions like the one I do with men that isn't as much, activating sexual energy, because I think that's something very personal and intimate that you need to experience with someone that you love. But it is, a lot of men are going to these sessions at this time and going through a lot of like sexual awakening. And then a lot of them are coming to me in sessions and they're telling me that like, I did these tantric sessions with these women and I did this and I did that. And then I come home and, how can I do these amazing sexual things that I have experienced? How can I do that with my wife? And a lot of men are coming to me and talking to me about it. And even before Tantra, the men would be like, I'm very sexual, I'm hypersexual, but my wife isn't, and I don't know how to make her more sexual. I don't know how to experience it with her. And sometimes I do it outside of the marriage and I go to these massages or whatever. And I'm very sexual, but my wife isn't. I did a video about that recently. But I think it's more than that. It's, a lot of men do start this tantric journey. They do start to reconnect to their inner child and to that part inside of them that wants to have fun and pleasure and sexuality and to express itself and to become the best version that they can. They're reconnecting to this inner child, but then they're going home and the wife is not connected to her inner child and she's very closed off and very like, thinks like a normal regular person who hasn't done any work on herself. And the recommendation that I tell most men is that if they have gone through a journey, if they have gone through the work, if they are more comfortable with their sexual energy, if they are more comfortable with the inner child, if the inner child isn't hungry anymore, but you've filled yourself from the inside with all this love and joy, then you can be your wife's tantric healer. She doesn't need to go to a random man and get touched by him in order for her to open up her sexuality. All she needs is a loving man who she can trust, who she can let go with, and work with the sexual energy in a very open and freeing way. And she needs a man that she trusts in order to do that. And in order for her to trust that man, she needs to feel like he's with her. He's listening to her. He sees her. And I think sometimes, or maybe even a lot of the times, men approach sex and sexuality from a place of deep, deep hunger. So there's this like pit inside of us, this hole of loneliness and sadness and the part of us that wants to feel accepted and wants to be seen and wants to feel loved, and we fill that hole with all kinds of relationships and things that we do and get from the outside world. And sex is a big one for men, so they have this deep emotional void inside of them. And one of the only ways they know how to fill that void, even if it is temporarily, the only way they know how to fill that void is through sex. And because the void is so big, the hunger for sex grows. Now, some people might call this hunger being horny, but I wouldn't agree with that, because I can be with someone and suddenly get turned on and my sexual energy starts to get activated. But if I'm not hungry, that means I won't necessarily pounce on that person or do anything in my capability in order to get him to sleep with me, or do kind of any kind of manipulation to get him to fulfill that hunger I have inside of me. So what happens is I have a hunger, I have this void. Then I met someone who triggered my sexual energy, and then my brain is telling me he'll fill that void for me, or she will fill that void for me. If she has sex with me, if she sucks my dick, then that void is going to get filled and I will feel better. And I'm so deep inside the void of my own pain that I become desperate for that woman to fill that void for me. And maybe some people call that being horny. I don't. I call that being very hungry and not knowing how to feed yourself, not knowing how to calm yourself, soothe yourself, love yourself. And you've been like that for so many years that you're walking around the world desperate and starving for love and attention. And then when you come to a sexual interaction with a woman in that vibe of the hunger, she's going to feel it and it's going to close her off, because we don't want to feel like food or like prey. We want to feel like we have a partner who sees us and respects our boundaries and understands that sex might be something difficult for us and it might be very triggering for all our childhood pain, and we might have problems trusting men and feeling comfortable around men, and we need help there. But if you come with all this sexual hunger and are not aware of that hunger, and then you want to just love her, but underneath you want her to love you, and that hunger takes over, it takes control. And as a woman, I can tell you that closes us off. It closes our sexual energy. We don't want to be prey for someone, and we don't want to feel like we're just something that you use in order to fulfill your needs or to fill up that void or to calm down the hunger that you feel. I don't want to feel like I'm a tool that you're using to feel better with yourself. I want to feel like, we're there for each other. You see me, you admire me, you appreciate the fact that I am the one here with you, and we create this very special and important emotional and physical and energetic connection. But if I feel like I'm not seen and this person is just using me to feel better with himself, that might close me off and I might not want to be sexual with that person. And I think that happens a lot of the times in relationships. So if you are a man who has done any kind of work, inner work, healing, tantric work, I hope that one of the things that you worked on the most is the connection with that child, and is finding ways to fill that void from within, from our connection to ourselves, to the child, to our heart, from our connection to God. And that we do in meditation, where we're aware of the void, we know we feel useless, no one can love us, we're not going to do anything good in our lives, we're worthless. These are the thoughts that I have in my brain. And I breathe and I see that these thoughts are actually coming from a very insecure young girl. And I hug the girl and I'm with her. And I remind her how amazing she is. And then, and that she's loved. And sometimes it's in a male voice in my head. Like I have an inner lover who is going to compliment me and tell me how amazing I am, and then I will feel better. And then when I go out into the world or I have interactions with people, I'm not in this like hunger mode just trying to fill up the void, the emotional void. I come very secure and very connected to myself, and I have self-authority, and I know how I'm feeling, and I know how to regulate my emotions. And then the connections that I make are actually more meaningful than they were if I was just coming hungry, looking for people to use to fill up that void I have inside of me. So that's a very important part. I think that is exactly the place where a lot of women like me feel like we're abandoned during the sexual interaction. Like we can be on a date, and this whole date the guy is like, oh my God, you're so amazing, you're so this, and he's listening and he's answering and he's asking questions and he's like completely with me. But then when we get to bed, he becomes this hungry monster who I don't recognize, because this is not the man that I sat with a few minutes ago, and I feel used and not seen. And this can happen to men or women. I'm not talking only about men. I'm just a woman, so I'm talking from my experience as a woman, but I'm sure men have this too, where they feel, maybe it's more with money, where they feel like she will say anything or do anything or pretend to be someone else just to be with you so you can give her money. And I think it works the other way around with men and sex. And, we're all hungry. We have hungry ghosts inside of us. That is all the pain and the lack of love and attention that we received as children. And that thing is trying to fulfill itself and to feel loved from the outside world. Inner work, meditation, healing is about filling that void from within so that we can come to the world and interact with the world and with people from a place of wholeness, of connection, of, you know, calmness and presence, and not these hungry ghosts. So if you have been doing the work and your wife hasn't, I would recommend you share some of your journey with her, whatever you can share with her, and pay attention that when you're around her, because she hasn't done any work and you have, you need to be responsible for that hungry child inside of you, for that hungry, horny guy inside of you. You need to be responsible for that. And you might consider coming to sexual interactions with that woman after meditation or after I've done something with myself that I feel whole and I feel full, I'm not hungry. And then I can actually see her and be there for her and hold the space for her. And that is what she needs in order to connect to the horny, feminine side inside of her that she has been hiding her whole life and been ashamed of her whole life and wants to reconnect but doesn't know how. So if you're a man who's done some work and you love your wife, I definitely believe that you can help her, you can heal her, you can be there for her, but it needs to come from a place of wholeness and not just a place of, here's another place where I'm going to get my fix. Because she doesn't want to be a fix. She's a human being. She's a person. She has like a whole inner world inside of her, and she needs help coming out of her shell to heal her inner child in order for her to be connected in a healthy way to her body and her sexuality. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you have done work or tantric work or any kind of inner work, how has it been for you? Have you done work with your inner child? What are the ways that you have found that you can feel that void inside of you without using the outside world? And how does the work that you've been doing, how does that come to fruition inside your romantic sexual relationship? So I would love to hear from you in the comments about those things. And if you like this video, I upload these frequently. You're more than welcome to subscribe and like. And thank you so much for watching. And I will see you soon. I also want to do some guided meditations, ASMR, tantric transmissions. So if that's something that interests you and you would like me to do, then also please let me know in the comments and I will record some for you. Because I do like doing them, but I'm a little bit insecure there and I'm not sure anyone would even like it. So let me know if that's something that you would like. Yeah, and thank you very much. And good luck on your journey. And I will see you soon in the next video.